Hello, welcome back to the Project Hercules Diaries, a typical Friday night in the garage. We're doing a mock-up of the gearbox and clutch for the final drive. I'm here with Mr. Bob. There he is. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. And Mr. Igor.
All right.
Hello. All right. So, what have we got here? Well, we've got the gearbox with the end plates in and the dummy shaft. And on that dummy shaft, we've got the sprocket with a chain wrapped on it, and we've got the clutch on the end without the spring, so it just freewheels on there. And what we're doing is we're just making sure that the distance between the centre of the clutch and the crankshaft is about what we would expect for a belt. Belts come in standard sizes, and depending on the number of teeth, you get a distance between centres. If you calculate it, we're looking at about 13 inches. So if this casing is more or less hard up against here, and we make some plates to come off here around the gearbox, that will put that in situ. And we're just checking all of the things like, does the clutch clear the bottom of the frame here? Because where we originally put it up, this was rubbing on the frame, and the belt wouldn't actually fit in there, so we wouldn't want to make the plates to hold the gearbox in place if we couldn't put the belt on. That'd be a bit of a disaster. Does the battery clear? And I think we've got a fair bit of clearance for the battery, and that's without putting a flat on the end of the gearbox there, so that's looking quite promising. And the last thing, of course, is does the chain clear the mudguard? Does it clear the wheel when it's in the right place? If I hold everything here in situ, and Bob grabs the sprocket, and when we sort of pull, you get an idea of the final drive. Make sure we clear the rear sprocket, see where the caliper would be, because we plan to make this the rear disc. So is there clearance in there for a caliper? That's not the actual size sprocket, but it's pretty close, and the two rear sprockets, one on each side, will be the same size. It's the front sprockets that will be slightly different sizes. And the last thing we can check, of course, is the height of the chain. So when we make the fuel tank, if it goes in that space, make sure the fuel tank doesn't get fouled by the chain, because you wouldn't want the chain to rip a hole in the bottom of the fuel tank. That would certainly spoil your day, I think, wouldn't it? So it's looking promising. There's no obvious clashes, so it's a bit of a gross error check without making final measurements, and all that goes down in the van tomorrow to Raw Steel Choppers. So myself, Mr. Bob, Mr. Igor, say hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, we're on a road trip down to Raw Steel Choppers. So that's a typical Friday night. The other thing that we're doing with the talented skills on the computer is Mr. Igor here. Just show us the what's it. Yeah. He's done a 3D picture of the 3D drawing the whole frame, which is pretty groovy, from scratch. And we're looking at the potential of putting a conventional type frame, conventional tank, a top mounted tank. It's only 2D at the moment, so we'll expand that and see how that might look, as opposed to an underslung tank that we've got the cardboard model of under there. Cardboard model for the tank is on the big red guzzi, ready to go away. So it's all sort of happening. Well, it all needs to happen, because it's all going away tomorrow for a bit. And it's quite exciting. So happy Friday, happy bank holiday weekend. Thanks for watching. As always, more updates will follow.